One Piece chapter 1019. Now this chapter didn't really have much substance to it. We got little tidbits here and there with Yamato and Kaido, but for the most part there was nothing there and it ended without anything happening. Though we did get a reveal of Yamato's Devil Fruit ability, we're still not sure what it is, but it is very interesting. Now I will say that Sasuke versus Franky was easily the most important part of the chapter because it seems like that fight has been resolved, and I'm not gonna lie, this was actually a pretty cool fight for Franky, probably one of his better fights in the series actually. So it seems like the way things are going right now is that we're gonna see most of the Flying Six fights conclude. So Sasuke's out, Who's Who seems to be out as well. We're not sure how that situation went afterwards. Ot and Page One are seemingly out as well, which leaves Black Maria for last, which may happen in the next couple of chapters. I think from then on we might transition to the Calamities, especially for individuals like King, because again he hasn't really done anything for the most part, and again that's due to him not having that much screen time. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But before we dive into this chapter, let's start from the beginning. Also drop a like on this video and subscribe if you're new here. Now the first section of the chapter mainly focused on the life lore with Sanji and Queen and the conditions of Luffy and Zoro. Sanji for the most part seems to be fighting Queen. Nothing really substantial is going on here, but Sanji does mention that Queen's technology might be something Franky would like to get his hands on, which could be interesting because if they win this battle, I could possibly see Franky salvaging Queen's materials or taking some of Queen's technology for himself. From there, he can probably learn a thing or two from Queen, as he does have some relations to Vegapunk. I feel like that's something that could happen when the Alliance defeats the Beast Pirates, because Sanji mentions that Queen is able to shoot a barrage of beams. Now we do know Franky does have this technology to some extent, but I'm not sure if he's able to fire it as constantly as Queen. So again, this is something that could revamp Franky's repertoire, and then that could easily lead away Franky to individuals like Vegapunk, because I feel like Queen might actually talk about Vegapunk in this arc to hype him up even more. And there's also Momonosuke's Devil Fruit that could come into play in all of this as well, as that was a creation of Vegapunk. So we might learn something new from there as well. Now moving on to Luffy and Zoro side of things. Now Zoro might be back in action very soon, but it seems like he's struggling with what the Mingus are doing right now. Again, I'm excited for Zoro because I'm not exactly sure where this is going for him. A lot of people are saying that he's going to fight King, but other people seem to think that he might also go to the rooftop to fight Kaido again. But again, I think it's leaning towards King because I feel like Marco is probably wearing down in terms of his flames and everything, because he does have a limit. And this is not to say that Marco isn't as strong as King, but just more so that he's endured much more because he was taking on both King and Queen earlier on. But there is also a possibility that Marco could fight alongside Zoro to break the balance of that battle, but it's hard to say. So I think in the next 2 or 3 chapters, Zoro should be back in action, and from there we'll see which individual is his target. Now Luffy seems to be back in action as well. Well, not in action, but he's finally regained consciousness and he is hungry as usual. He needs his meat, and that's pretty much his #1 source of medicine. But yeah, I am definitely excited for Luffy as well. I'm just more so invested in what he's learned this time, because every time he gets defeated, he always comes back stronger, and it seems like he has something much more for Kaido this time. Now I do think that he's going to arrive when Kaido is close to defeating Yamato, which would then start the third and final battle between the two. And I think at this point in time, most of the Flying Six would be out, and the Calamities would be the other main focus, in which Zoro and Sanji will be dealing with those guys. So when Luffy gets back to that rooftop, things are going to be crazy, as this should be the decisive battle. Now moving on to Sasuke versus Franky. Like I said before, this was a pretty cool battle for Franky, and I guess the main battle theme was toughness, because it seems like they weren't able to take out each other because they were so durable. And Sasuke, knowing this, chose to take it to the next level, in which he goes into his hybrid form. Now again, when it comes to hybrid forms, I think the cooler the prehistoric animal is, the better the hybrid form is going to look. So I wasn't expecting much from Sasuke's hybrid, but surprisingly it looks alright. Not as bad as I initially thought it would be. And unexpectedly, Sasuke's hybrid form seems to have a very interesting trait in where he can somehow manipulate the horn-like appendages on his body, on his head, in which he can twist and propel them so he can fly. So that was something that I didn't expect from Sasuke. A flying Triceratops, Oda never disappoints with his creativity. Now I would say that this was kind of hard to see what was actually happening in the fight, because we have these two massive hulking fighters, but the panels that they were drawn drawn in were so small. So I think this is something that's going to benefit a lot from the anime, and given the anime's production quality as of lately, this fight is probably going to be fire. Now the fight concluded with Franky finding out about Sasuke's weakness, which was the skin on his belly. Franky uses that to his advantage and ejects out of General Franky to land a finishing blow with his signature attack, Radical Beam. Now it's hard to say if these guys are actually going to be out for the count, because we know that ancient Zoans have this insane recovery time, so they might be knocked out for the time being, but they might recuperate eventually. So something I think they have to do is restrict them with Sea Stone to negate their Devil Fruit abilities. We saw Denjiro do it earlier on in the raid and Sasuke couldn't get out of it. So I'm not sure if the Straw Hats are aware of this, but Chopper should know given that he's a Zoan as well. We also have Marco there, so he should know this too. Now we end up the chapter with Yamato and Kaido. Again, nothing really substantial happened here. This was just the 2 last pages of the chapter, but we do learn something new about Yamato, and that is her Devil Fruit ability, which turns out to be a Zoan like we all predicted. And it's looking like a mythical type as well, but we're not sure what mythical animal it is. Now Kaido did say that this fruit was hard for him to get his hands on, so obviously this fruit has some sort of value, and maybe this was a fruit that he was looking for specifically, and perhaps it has some sort of special ability. Now based on Yamato's looks, it does look like a cat or some sort of mythical wolf. We're not really sure because she's in her hybrid form and we can't really tell. But right now I'm thinking it's either a wolf or, like a lot of people speculated, the white tiger, but her design doesn't really match a tiger, so I'm leaning towards the wolf. But then you also think about the symbolism of the tiger and the dragon, and how the dragon is like equal to the tiger, and Yamato having that ability would fit the symbolism. But again, judging from Yamato's design, it doesn't look like a tiger, so the mysteries just keep accumulating. But it does look like the next chapter is going to focus on this fight, and we might get our answers there about Yamato's character and also her Devil Fruit and what that means and why there's so much value on it, or why Kaido puts so much value into this fruit. And hopefully we can also find out why Kaido calls Yamato his son, because there's obviously more to that. There's more context, and I'm definitely looking forward to that, because Yamato's whole thing has been very vague, and we just need more answers, and I think we're gonna get that in the next chapter. Now we are on break next week, which is dreadful, but again, this is Shonen Jump's break and not Oda's break, so this was kind of to be expected. So it's going to be tough, but it's better for Oda to get as much rest as he can. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I'd appreciate it if you dropped a like on this video, comment down below what you guys think, and subscribe for more One Piece content on this channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Ferrospace. But it is Ferro, guys, and I will see you folks later. Peace.